Why do you think that you have the right to silence me?
I always said that I don't want to be heard, I want to be felt. I don't want to make my mark, I want to make my dent.
I didn't realize at the time that I was actually one of the biggest activists and largest organizers of white nationalism and alt-right in the United States.
They are what is considered by most people sort of your button-up white supremacists, your suit-and-tie Nazis.
Arguably, what they spew, while it's hateful and deplorable, is political speech, and so therefore it's protected under the Constitution.
Pat, why are you letting the fascists out here? You've got us blocked off, but you're letting the fascists come and harass us? We want them out of here now, damn it, or we're coming over the fucking barrier!
I can't walk in fear, and we don't walk in fear, you know, and I thank God for that.
Honestly, I wanted to make sure that when I left this earth, there would be something left behind that was worth a damn.
Secretary, I read your book last week, and honestly, some of the parts of it impressed me, but some of it distresses me. And I'll give you a good example of one that does. The passage where you talk about killing a dog that was 14 months old. I train dogs, all right? And you are a farmer. You should know better. You should know that if you're going out to a hunting lodge and you're putting pheasants out and you're putting dogs out, you don't take a puppy out there. A 14-month-old dog is basically a teenager in dog years. You decided to kill that dog because you had not invested the appropriate time in training, and then you have the audacity to go into a book and say it's a leadership lesson about tough choices. It's in your book. We could play it if we had time. At that same lunch hour, you killed a goat. And you killed the goat because you said it was behaving badly. You are a farmer. You don't castrate a goat. They behave badly. You should have probably done that before. But my point is, those are bad decisions made in the heat of the moment, not unlike what happened up in Minneapolis. But I want to submit this letter from the Office of Inspector General that cites 10 different instances under Ms. Noem's leadership where they've been misled and not allowed to pursue investigations that they think are critically important. Does anybody have any idea how bad it has to be for the OIG in this agency to come out and do this publicly? That is stonewalling, that's a failure of leadership, and that is why I've called for your resignation.
And that's how we're beginning the show today by saying that he got what he wanted the next day because Kristi Noem is no longer the head of DHS. But that doesn't mean that the problem is over. Hi, I'm Daryle Lamont Jenkins and
Beth Foster.
And we are, and this is Antifascism O.G. And I got the wrong prompt on one of our things here. So let me just take this out here right quick and get back to things. Okay, goodbye. We'll get to that in a bit because that's one of the things we need to talk about. Because I don't know, did the war start when we was did that happen the day before or day after or during?
I think it was the day after, that night after the show, maybe.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing with us where we just seem to be like a day early.
We talked about how it was coming, I think, last week.
Right. And I think I was just in so much of a mess last week that I still owe people apologies for how I acted or how I was. But I'm happy that everybody's here, and I just want to tell everybody. Also, we're doing this on You can watch this on Facebook and as well as a Substack. So for those of you who are watching this on Substack, hi. For those of you who are watching it on Facebook, welcome.
And we're moving towards YouTube, right, Daryle?
Yeah, we're probably going to do that next week.
YouTube.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. And
and these are the two people who could not figure out how to go live on Substack when we started. So we have made tremendous progress.
Oh,
but part of that is because we have a great backstage crew.
Yes, much love. And only reason why we're not mentioning their name because we want to make sure that we are allowed to.
Yes.
So if you send me to our director, can probably just send me a text if it's cool to say a name or something like that while we're going.
But we got to shout them out because that's been tremendous.
Yes, definitely. I mean, a lot of work that we put in is basically them. So yes, we're thanking them 100%. We also want to note today is hold on, I'm just the technical director for now.
Okay. In my classes, we do all the wiggly fingers, my elementary students, for good work. So all the wiggly fingers for the technical director.
Now next week I'm going to have a prompt that says because I'm having a lot of fun doing graphics these days because I'm learning this program called everybody knows Adobe Premiere. That is I used always for years. I used some knockoff thing called oh man, now I can't even remember what it was. It was a knockoff. It was a Power Director, Power Director, and I've used it for years. But I wanted to start getting on something that everybody basically knows, and that is this. So Adobe. So, but I don't think you're here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what we're going to be doing for the show. So we are today is this is our first program for Women's History Month, and there's a hold on a moment. People have a habit of trying to open up my door while I'm trying to do a show. So, but no, people. But I'm sorry, we didn't really do anything for Black history. We just been all over the place with a lot of stuff that was going down. But if you go on to Idavox, you'll find something that we did last year where we just had a series of articles about various people in history groups during for not just Black history, but also Black women's history. So you'll be able to see a lot of like little bios that I found all over the internet, and you can definitely, it would be something worth looking at because I learned stuff when I was doing this about people that I was not even aware of and everything. So I would definitely say take a look at our old articles from last year, and we're going to talk about one person that we had. I think it was the first person from last year that we profiled, Lucy Parsons, and I'm just going to let Beth take over from here. So
Yeah, so Lucy Parsons was a leading figure in American anarchism and the radical labor movement. If you know about Haymarket, as I tell my students, some people call it the Haymarket Massacre, some the Haymarket incident, um, the Haymarket bombing. It kind of depends on who you think threw the bomb, and we'll never know. I have my suspicions, but we will probably never know. But Lucy Parsons was born into slavery in Waco, near Waco, Texas. And she later married Albert R. Parsons, who had become a white radical Republican. And the radical Republicans were the people pushing for civil rights for African Americans, for an interracial democracy after the Civil War. So he had become a radical Republican after serving as a Confederate soldier. Yeah. So in 1873, Albert and Lucy moved to Chicago, where they became involved in the radical labor movement. Now, it's not that radical, really, because all these people wanted was an 8-hour workday, but that was really radical back in the day. 13 years later, Lucy rose to national fame when she embarked on a speaking tour to raise money for her husband, who was one of 9 men tried and sentenced to be executed for, and I quote, speaking in such a way as to inspire the bomber to violence, following the Haymarket Square bombing, which killed a Chicago policeman. Lucy remained an activist after the execution of her husband, and in 1892 founded the newspaper Freedom, which addressed such issues as labor organizing, lynching, and black peonage in the South. In 1905, Lucy became the only woman to address the founding convention of the IWW, also known as the Industrial Workers of the World, or the Wobblies. In the early 1930s, Parsons joined in the defense of the Scottsboro Boys and Anglo Herndon. She died in a house fire in 1942. And I'm going to read one of her speeches that appeared in the Kansas City Journal on December 21st, 1886. So here is Lucy's speech. I am an anarchist. I suppose you came here, the most of you, to see what a real live anarchist looked like. I suppose some of you expected to see me with a bomb in one hand and a flaming torch in the other. But you are disappointed in seeing neither. If such has been your ideas regarding an anarchist, you deserve to be disappointed. Anarchists are peaceable, law-abiding people. What do anarchists mean when they speak of anarchy? Webster gives the term 2 definitions: chaos and the state of being without political rule. We cling to the latter definition. Our enemies hold that we believe only in the former. Do you wonder why there are anarchists in this country, in this great land of liberty, as you love to call it? Go to New York. Go through the byways and alleys of that great city. Count the myriads starving. Count the multiplied thousands who are homeless. Number those who work harder than slaves and live on less and have fewer comforts than the meanest slaves. You will be dumbfounded by your discoveries. You who have paid no attention to these poor, save as objects of charity and commiseration. They are not objects of charity. They are the victims of the rank injustice that permeates the system of government and of political economy that holds sway from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Its oppression, the misery it causes, the wretchedness it gives birth to, are found to a greater extent in New York than elsewhere. In New York, where not many days ago 2 governments united in unveiling a Statue of Liberty, where 100 bands played that hymn of liberty, the Marseillaise, but almost its equal is found among the miners of the West who dwell in squalor and wear rags, that the capitalists who control the earth that should be free to all may add still further to their millions. Oh, there are plenty of reasons for the existence of anarchists. But in Chicago, they do not think anarchists have any right to exist at all. They want to hang them there, lawfully or unlawfully. You have heard of a certain Haymarket meeting. You have heard of a bomb. You have heard of arrests and of a succeeding arrest affected by detectives. Those detectives. There is a set of men, nay beasts for you, Pinkerton detectives. They would do anything, I feel sure, capitalists wanted a man to throw that bomb at the Haymarket meeting and have the anarchists blamed for it. Pinkerton could have accomplished it for him. You have heard a great deal about bombs. You have heard that the anarchists said lots about dynamite. You have been told that Ligg made bombs. He violated no law. Dynamite bombs can kill, can murder, so can Gatling guns. Suppose that bomb had been thrown by an anarchist. The Constitution says there are certain inalienable rights, among which are a free press, free speech, and free assemblage. The citizens of this great land are given by the Constitution the right to repel the unlawful invasion of those rights. The meeting at Haymarket Square was a peaceable meeting. Suppose when an anarchist saw the police arrive on the scene with murder in their eyes, determined to break up that meeting, suppose he had thrown that bomb. He would have violated no law. That will be the verdict of your children. Had I been there, had I seen those murderous police approach, had I heard that insolent command to disperse, had I heard Feldman say, "Captain, this is a peaceable meeting," had I seen the liberties of my countrymen trodden underfoot, I would have flung the bomb myself. I would have violated no law, but would have upheld the Constitution. If the anarchists had planned to destroy the city of Chicago and to massacre the police, why was it that they had only 2 or 3 bombs in hand? Such was not their intention. It was a peaceable meeting. Carter Harrison, the mayor of Chicago, was there. He said it was a quiet meeting. He told Bonfeld, Captain John Bonfeld, commander of the Des Plaines police station, to send the police to their different beats. I do not stand here to gloat over the murder of those policemen. I despise murder. But when a ball from the revolver of a policeman kills as much murder as when death results from a bomb. The police, there's a lot here.
You can go on if you want.
Okay, you want me to keep going?
Keep going.
All right. Let me get back up here. The police rushed upon that meeting as it was about to disperse. Mr. Simonson talked to Bonfeld about the meeting. Bonfeld said he wanted to do the anarchists up. Parsons went to the meeting. He told his wife, 2 ladies, and his 2 children along. Toward the close of the meeting, he said, "I believe it is going to rain. Let us adjourn to Zeff's Hall." Filden said he was about through with his speech and would close it at once. The people were beginning to scatter about. 1,000 of the more enthusiastic still lingered in spite of the rain. Parsons and those who accompanied him started for home. They had gone as far as the Des Plaines Street police station when they saw the police start at a double quick. Parsons stopped to see what was the trouble. Those 200 policemen rushed on to do the anarchist up. Then he went on. I was in Zeff's Hall when I heard that terrible detonation. It was heard around the world. Tyrants trembled and felt there was something wrong. The discovery of dynamite and its use by anarchists is a repetition of history. When gunpowder was discovered, the feudal system was at the height of power. Its discovery and use made the middle classes. Its first discharge sounded the death knell of the feudal system. The bomb at Chicago sounded the downfall of the wage system of the 19th century. Why? Because I know no intelligent people who will submit to despotism. The first means the diffusion of power. I tell no man to use it, but it was the achievement of science, not of anarchy, and would do for the masses. I suppose the press will say I belched forth treason. If I have violated any law, arrest me. Give me a trial and the proper punishment. But let the next anarchist that comes along ventilate his views without hindrance. Well, the bomb exploded, the arrests were made, and then came that great judicial farce beginning on June 21st. The jury was impaneled. Is there a night of labor here? then know that a Knight of Labor was not considered competent enough to serve on that jury. Are you a Knight of Labor? Have you any sympathy with labor organizations? Were the questions asked each talisman? If an affirmative answer was given, the talisman was bounced. If it was not, are you a Mason, a Knight Templar? Oh no. I.C.E. read the signs of the times by that expression. Hangman Gary, miscalled judge, ruled that if a man was prejudiced against the defendants, it did not incapacitate him for serving on the jury. For such a man, said Hangman Gary, would pay closer attention to the law and evidence and would be more apt to render a verdict for the defense. Is there a lawyer here? If there is, he knows such a ruling is without precedent and contrary to all law, reason, or common sense. In the heat of patriotism, the American citizen sometimes drops a tear for the nihilist of Russia. They say the nihilist can't get justice, that he is condemned without trial. How much more should he weep for his next-door neighbor, the anarchist, who is given the form of a trial under such a ruling? There were squealers introduced as witnesses for the prosecution. There were 3 of them. Each and every one was compelled to admit they had purchased and intimidated by the prosecution. Yet Hangman Gary held their evidence as competent. It came out in the trial that the Haymarket meeting was the result of no plot, but was caused in this wise. The day before the wage slaves in McCormick's factory had struck for 8 hours labor, McCormick, from his luxurious office with one stroke of his pen by his idle beringed fingers, turned 4,000 men out of employment. Some gathered and stoned the factory. Therefore they were anarchists, said the press. But anarchists are not fools. Only fools stone buildings. The police were sent out and they killed 6 wage slaves. You did not know that. The capitalistic press kept it quiet, but it made a great fuss over the killing of some policemen. Then those crazy anarchists, as they were called, thought a meeting ought to be held to consider the killing of 6 brethren and to discuss the 8-hour movement. The meeting was held. It was peaceable. When Bonfeld ordered the police to charge those peaceful anarchists, he hauled down the American flag and should have been shot on the spot. There's about 3 more paragraphs. You want me to finish it, Daryle?
If you're feeling it.
All right, I'm almost there. While the judicial farce was going on, the red and black flags were brought into court to prove that the anarchists threw the bombs. They were placed on the wall and hung there, awful specters before the jury. What does the black flag mean? When a cablegram says it was carried through the streets of a European city, it means that the people are suffering, that the men are out of work, the women starving, the children barefooted. But you say that is in Europe. How about America? The Chicago Tribune said there were 30,000 men in that city with nothing to do. Another authority said there were 10,000 barefooted children in midwinter. The police said hundreds had no place to sleep or warm. Then President Cleveland issued his Thanksgiving proclamation, and the anarchists formed in procession and carried the black flag to show that these thousands had nothing for which to return thanks. When the Board of Trade was that gambling den was dedicated by means of a banquet, $30 a plate. Again, the black flag was carried to signify that there were thousands who couldn't enjoy a 2-cent meal. But the red flag, the horrible red flag, what does that mean? Not that the streets should run with gore, but that the same red blood courses through the veins of the whole human race. It meant the brotherhood of man. When the red flag floats over the world, the idols shall be called to work. There will be an end of prostitution for women, of slavery for men, of hunger for children. Liberty has been named anarchy. If this verdict is carried out, it will be the death knell of America's liberty. You and your children will be slaves. You will have liberty if you can pay for it. If this verdict is carried out, place the flag of our country at half-mast and write on every fold, shame. Let our flag be trailed in the dust. Let the children of working men place laurels to the brow of these modern heroes, for they committed no crime. Break the 2-fold yoke. Bread is freedom, and freedom is bread.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for reading that. And thank you, Lucy Parsons, for existing. I mean, this weekend is the 82nd anniversary of her passing. And I definitely thought that that was an important thing to read or to share with everybody. And this month, like I said, go to the website and look for what's the title that I have up there for this category, for this series.
It is Women Hold Up Half the Sky.
Yeah, and you'll find a whole bunch of bios and other writings that and we're going to read some of them whenever next week and all of that, or for the rest of the month. Probably means just like 4, but we're going to try to find the best ones for y'all to hear. But definitely just visit the site and see what we can talk about. Unfortunately, we got to come back to the present, and we brought it up in the morning in the beginning about how Kristi Noem is no longer around, and we didn't want to get away from that just yet, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. I mean, there's really not much you can say about Kristi Noem at this point. She's supposed to be.
I have dogs and goats, so my feelings are. And I love them both.
And I love humans, and she apparently doesn't.
Yes.
But it's like she was there to just. She didn't care. She just wanted to look good on TV. And cosplay, basically. That was really what the deal was. I had a feeling she was going to be the first one to go. I think the next one's going to be Hexeth, but she was the one to go first, I'm sure. And unfortunately, and we can go on all day long about Noem, but we got a lot of show to come, and we have the show coming up. So we might as well be quick about her replacement.
Yeah.
And I'm going to introduce everybody to him like this. Hold on a second. Let me just get this video put up if I can find it. Now we are talking about a mark. Oh, go on and say.
I was just going to say, while you're getting the video up, I hope Kristi Noem is really gone, but there's this frightening special envoy to the Shield of America thing.
I just meant to bring that up.
Yeah, and the Don Rowe Doctrine, what are we going to do on this half of the planet, this side of the planet? It's frightening.
Well, let's just see exactly what that actually is. I mean, I don't think it's going to amount to anything.
Maybe.
Now, if we thought that Kristi Noem didn't have any experience, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce you to Senator Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma. And I want to show everybody how I first heard of him. 2 years ago. Was it 3? At this
I think
point?
it was 2 years ago.
Well, there's a date stamp on this video, but he was in a hearing with some union leaders, and he had a little bit of an issue with one of them, and I still will say that this is the funniest thing I ever saw on C-SPAN.
Now, let's talk about Mr. O'Brien himself, his behavior. Everybody knows this. Here in the last time,
was fired in
kind of had a back and forth.
To the
Once again, I messed up. Okay, so let me fix that up a little bit, because that wasn't supposed to go up. That, by the way, you're gonna love. Let me see what happened here. That was supposed to go up. And Schlapp, that was a Matt Schlapp video, by the way. Beth. So
Okay.
I know you want to talk about that. So this is how I first heard of Mullen.
Now, let's talk about Mr. O'Brien himself, his behavior. As everybody knows this, here in the last time,
Him and I kind of had a back and forth. Appreciate your demeanor today. It's quite different. But after you left here, you got pretty excited about the keyboard. Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every problem?
No, sit down.
Sorry, you're a clown.
Sit down.
Okay.
You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit
Active.
down.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond?
That's
Thank goodness for Bernie.
that made my day. I was like, I wasn't having a bad day, but it was when that happened. I was just like, are we there now? Is that where we are now? And a lot of people know him, Mullen, from this week for trying to. There's basically the rule is if you are going to go to war, you have to go through Congress. Otherwise, it is an illegal war. So they can't say that it's a war, but they keep saying it anyway. And that would include Mullen, and he got caught. So here's why we saw him this week.
Are there measures being taken not to eliminate other possible alternatives to leadership?
This is war, and we're taking out the threat. And if you're part of the threat, then you have you're a target.
You'll concede this is war. You'll concede this is war.
We haven't declared war. They declared war on us, but we haven't.
War. Secretary Hicks said
Senator, we haven't declared.
Just now, you said this is war.
They've called it war.
They've called it war. What I was saying. Okay, well that was a misspoke.
So that's the guy who's running. That's going to run the DHS whenever we I think it was the end of this month he starts. Like I think on. Wait, okay. This is funny now. Noem leaves on the 31st of March. That means he starts on April 1st.
April Fool's Day. Could not be more appropriate.
Perfect.
You know, thinking back about Noem's tenure, I think the most horrifying image out of that time, and there's a lot, is when she stood in front of all of those men in El Salvador. Was that where? Yeah, that's where the prison was.
Yeah.
And she's in her DHS Barbie outfit, and it's just that I think that image will be in history books that talk about the human rights atrocities of this time.
Yeah, definitely. And it's sad that we were even going to have that, but she's going to be a part of the reason why. And when you think about how she basically used them for her cosplay, and then the lies about good, pretty and good, it's like, oh my goodness. It's just the lies about why things were happening. I mean, I just showed the video of Tom Tillis, and he got on her about how FEMA did not respond to the disasters that was going on in North Carolina, where he's from, and she didn't belong there. She just simply did not belong. You realize that when she was the governor of South Dakota, the reservations basically said, no, she can't come here. She is not welcome.
Yep.
So, I mean, no one's going to miss her. No one is going to miss her. And it was just, I think one of the reasons why they said, I mean, I had posted up the sad thing about it is that there's a whole bunch of things that she is guilty of, and she's still going to have to answer for. She's still going to have to answer for them. Criminal.
And it's not going to bring back, those people who have died because of her decisions. Their families are still going to be, she's gone, but the things she did are going to hurt people for a long time to come.
Yeah, and the only reason why she is gone is because she made Trump look bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the only why. And that's why we have Mark Wayne Mullen who taking the helm. I gave you that. Did you get that for no law degree or anything like that? Okay, but no law enforcement background, no national security experience, no security intelligence, and no emergency NB and NGBT, skills. I mean, we're back to where we were when we kicked Noem back out. And we got to stop making the same mistakes over and over again. The least of them voting for knuckleheads like Trump, but that's another story in and of itself. But that's who's going to be running things. The only thing I can expect from him is that he's not going to give us the drama that Noem is going to that Noem gave us.
You don't think he'll come to work costumed every day?
No. But he might beat up a team. Try to beat up a team.
He might.
So we'll have that. And hopefully we're getting to the point where we can start handling these characters. I mean, let's go to the war because
Okay.
we gotta because this is where I stick. And the reason why I say that is because this should not have happened either.
No,
this should not have happened. I mean, no one is shedding any tears to the I can't say the word because of the aphasia, but
the supreme leader.
Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna cry over him, but there are some people who we do have to cry about because they were the first ones to be killed in this, and we cannot ignore the fact that this was a war of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one that we did not have to fight, and we still don't have to fight it, and yet here we are regardless. And I want to play a video. It's hard to hear, so I'm going to explain exactly what's going on. Here's the deal. There's a guy by the name of Matt Schlapp. He runs CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. I go to them a lot, and I've dealt with him before, especially when Richard Simmons, really, Daryle? Richard Spencer, basically got there and basically took over the place for about 15 minutes, and I had to go whisper to him and his person that you better get him out of here, otherwise this is going to be the way it goes for the rest of the night. And he listened. He said it was but when Spencer showed up, he just basically called him a leftist to try to clean. He said, yeah, liberals have infiltrated the CPAC this year and we chased them out, which is funny because I was sitting there for the rest of the day, and it was comical. Aphasia is no fun, y'all. Anyway, he was on Pierce Morgan, who I've spoke to on television on Dr. Phil's show, and that was fun. He has his own show where he has basically where they talk about the he has some guests on that has I should say opinions about the what's going on in the world at any given time, except he brings on the absolute worst people. Just basically folks who are trying to get on TV. I mean, he basically platforms fascists. That's his thing, and it sucks. This is one of them. So and sometimes there's some good people. There's some good people that go on the show, but the show was basically sensationalist as hell. And this was a perfect example of it. And it's something that we got to talk about if we're going to talk about the war, because if you have this if the right has this attitude, then we got to stop this thing as quickly as possible.
Pierce, even if it was an Iranian missile that was fired in response to the attack from Israel and the United States, right? Even if it was an Iranian missile, those girls would still be alive today if the United States and Israel had not launched the attack. So you are right. We don't know who launched the missile, but we know that if the U.S. and Israel had not attacked a country that poses no serious threat to them, Israel has hundreds of nuclear weapons, America has thousands, that those girls would be alive.
Okay, but I would also say to that it is indisputable. That it is indisputable to me. Well, hang on, Matt, please. Hang on, please. Let me finish my point.
Y'all hear that? Schlapp was the guy with the white with the beard and white hair, and basically he said that if those it was probably they would be wearing a burqa if they were alive today. And somehow to him, that's supposed to be worse than us killing them indiscriminately. I mean, for some reason, it's best that we kill them as opposed to them to live and live in the burqa, because burqas are so damning to these characters. Truth be told, people like Schlapp are folks who they remind me of the Nazis. Whenever you hear the anybody going after Muslims in this day and age, is basically using the language and the tactics of Nazi Germany. I mean, so much so. Tomorrow, I'm going to be in New York, and there's a guy, and we've talked about him before, named Jake Lang. He's going to have a protest against the Muslim mayor. He's a Jewish man that we have video of Sieg Heiling.
Oh God.
In Minneapolis. But we also have video of him getting his behind kicked up and down in Minneapolis, so that makes things better. But he's coming to New York tomorrow, and I can't help but think that there is way too much that these characters are getting away with. And Schlapp, who, by the way, has a lot of issues himself, especially when it comes to he's been accused of sexual assault. Not even so that's one of the reasons why CPAC is not as strong as it used to be. People don't like Schlapp anymore because of those accusations, So but he's still out there, thanks to Pierre Morgan. But he's still out there, and they have that kind of attitude. And I know, Beth, you have some points, has some opinions about him and about what happened in that school.
Yeah, dozens and dozens of little girls were killed. And you know, and just hearing like Hedgepeth and his holy war rhetoric, and thinking about the children all across that region. I have 2 students who are in the UAE, and we just left for spring break, and they had a spring break assignment. All the students did to do a nature poem, go out, take a walk in nature. We just finished our poetry unit. And I wasn't even thinking, and one of those students raised his hand and he says, "Miss Beth, we're not allowed to go outside. There's problems here." You know, beyond the deaths of all of those little girls, there's a whole region of the world where kids can't even go out and walk outside. And just that we're doing, there's nothing holy about just the massacre of children and disrupting children's lives in these ways. And yeah. But this is I mean, we've been watching as children have died and starved for a few years now.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that we could say that is positive is the fact that this war is not popular, not even among the right wingers. So we don't know how well. At least 90 days, I think he can only be out there. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. And I don't think and then he's just gonna end up doing something else that we gotta deal with, of course. But by that time it's gonna be summer and everybody's gonna be out and we're gonna have some talking. But we're talking now, and I gotta send love to a brother by the name of Brian McGinnis.
Yeah.
And you're going to notice, if you guys been watching the news lately, you would know him because he was the Marine, full uniform, getting thrown out of a hearing, congressional congressional hearing, and because he opposed this war, and they broke his hand. And let's just look at the video and then just see how all of this broke down.
That was the Armed Services Subcommittee.
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel. Let's go. Come on, let's go. America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows your exemptness as leaders. This is wrong, and nobody wants to fight for Israel.
Just a reminder to all our
Commandant, please stand up as a Marine and stand up for America. No one wants to fight for Israel.
Sir, thank you for your service.
The senator broke his hand. The senator broke his hand.
Please help him. Come on.
He's
a Marine. Somebody come help him.
Control your Senate committee.
Look at you guys. You're robots.
The senator in particular, that's Tim Sheehy from Montana, and he's a first year or second year. He beat John Testa, who had that seat, and he's being zeroed in on. He's an old Navy SEAL too. He's a Navy SEAL, and he would have been the last person I would think that would try to put his hands on a Marine in full blues.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you look at the video, he wasn't nowhere near him when he had his hand broken, but he was still there putting his hands on him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's you know, that's how much people are fighting this. And by the way, that Marine McGinnis is first of all, I just want to say for the record, it's nice to hear somebody with the last name. Let me make sure that his name is McGinnis. It's nice to say somebody with the last name McGinnis is a good guy. Because after the knucklehead from the Proud Boys, it's nice to see. You know, I mean, but he is actually running for, we just got through talking about Tom Tillis. Tom Tillis is leaving the Senate. He is running for his seat as a Green Party member. And I think that he needs a lot more support than the Democrats and Republicans this time.
He's a firefighter. That's his like day job now. And he's had to go on leave because they broke his arm.
And also we got to find out, I believe he's still facing charges for what went down.
I think
too.
So pretty serious charges. Let me see if I can find that real fast.
Yeah, find that before we go to the next thing that we definitely got to talk about.
Okay.
You see it?
Almost there, I think. No, that's not here. Well, let's see. I think I got it now.
Dang.
Assault on a police officer, 3 counts. Resisting arrest, 3 counts. Unlawful demonstration. I think that's it.
Well, everybody, whatever you do, just keep supporting him because he supported us, and he's supporting decency. But the truth of the matter is, we're gonna stay on top of that. We're coming close to the end of the show, but and I know we wanted to talk about Jasmine, and the loss of her and she lost her suit, or rather her bid to become a Texas senator. We're gonna hold off on that because we gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about the fact that there is yet another woman being detained by ICE, and this really ticks me off. This one is beyond. I'm just going to basically play the video before we get started on this.
A Nashville reporter who has done extensive reporting on ICE activity here in the city has been detained by ICE.
That's right. And our Stacey Cameron is joining us now in the studios with the details on that.
Yeah, that's right, Jeremy. Stephanie Rodriguez, who is a reporter for Nashville Noticias, was detained yesterday by immigration agents. And we know there was no warrant for her arrest. Now, this afternoon, her fellow staffers and husband held a news conference to decry her arrest. Rodriguez was in a car with her husband, who is a U.S. citizen, when she was pulled over. Rodriguez's attorney says she came to the U.S. legally and is being sponsored by her husband and has a pending green card application. She also has a pending asylum application after seeking refuge from Colombia. Her attorney says her life was threatened in Colombia because of her reporting on armed militias. Now, her attorney goes on to say that ICE claims she was willfully detained to show up to 2 interview dates. She missed those according to ICE, and that makes her a flight risk. That first interview was supposed to be during the ice storm. It was postponed. The second was supposed to be February 25th, but when her attorney and husband checked about the interview, an ICE officer told them she wasn't in the system, so they rescheduled for March 17th, but she was arrested yesterday. Today, her husband pleaded for her release. Now, Rodriguez's attorneys have filed a petition for an immediate review of her detention to determine whether whether or not it's legal. The Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Right Coalition has filed a petition, and a bond motion has also been filed with the Immigration Court. We've also reached out to ICE for comment and haven't heard back. I'll keep you posted on what happens next.
She's still in. She's still detained. Legal immigrant. Legal. She's actually working. But she's a reporter, and she's talking about ICE and what they're doing. So on a technicality, which was really not much of a technicality to begin with, they picked her up, and she is right now being detained. This
and
is
reports from the, and the detention, the reports that are coming in about the horrific conditions for people in detention. Nobody should be there.
Nobody should.
But somebody who's such an important part of their community, who's done everything right, it certainly shows us the worst of the worst. Lie was a lie.
But when you I'm going to go back to Tom Tiller, who by the way is not really a good guy, but on this here, yeah, he is. He's going after Stephen Miller. He's going after Stephen Miller because really, you want to talk about somebody that needs to get locked up. You want to talk about that, the garbage that he's getting us involved in says too much is going on that shouldn't be, and that has to be addressed. There has to be a comeuppance regarding him for sure. And you are talking about somebody who is someone who was who's down with Nazis because he was friends with Richard Spencer. He brought Peter Brimlow to his college back in the day. It was a guy named David Horowitz who died last year, who introduced him to the work of Jared Taylor, and he basically fell in love. You got to do something about Stephen Miller. He is a white supremacist, and he has to be dealt with. He has to be dealt with as a white supremacist. And a lot of this that we see, we're probably just we're going to deal with this over the next couple of months for sure. We're not waiting until November.
No,
we're not. You can't. But there's a lot that we got to talk about in the next couple of months. We're going to be here. We're going to be here talking about it. We hope that you will be here. I'm glad to see the Facebook will be.
I know. We get the wiggly fingers.
And in the future, you're probably going to see fundraisers on Facebook page because we're trying to build, we're trying to grow, and one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to try to have a civic center, a community center where we can have I can have a actual studio in here. We can have a studio. People can come in and come inside and just do what they need to do there. And not only that, it'll be our archives and library where you can see the stuff that we have, what kind of things that we have to that could probably help you out as you try and learn more about stuff going on. That's
Antifa HQ.
Yes. We are going to be, we need to be we need to have a space where people can come and basically organize, study, there's a lot of places that like that online. We got our book stores all over the place. Yeah, but we need a spot. We need just a full-on spot. So we're asking people if they can donate. There's a link underneath us right now that can tell you how to donate to One People's Project. We are tax deductible. much to the chagrin of the right, because they always writing articles about me and One People's Project being tax exempt, like like that's a bad thing. And for those of you who want to help us by going on to Substack, I'm gonna let Beth explain that one.
Sure. On Substack, if you're a Substacker, be sure to subscribe to IDAVOX. You can subscribe for free, and there you get almost every single bit of content. There's one little thing that you will not get for free, and I'll let Daryle talk about that in a moment, because we believe that this content needs to be public. It doesn't need to be behind a paywall. Everybody needs access to it, because this is how we fight fascism. And we're anti-capitalist, and we want everybody to have access. So you can subscribe for free, but if you have some cash, subscribe as a paid subscriber. That helps IDAVOX and One People's Project to continue to do anti-fascist work, the kind of work it's been doing for a quarter of a century now. So, and Daryle can tell you about what you will get exclusively as a paid subscriber.
Now, if you were watching the commercials just before the show, you would have saw a video about a trailer for a documentary about me, and it's called "We Don't Walk in Fear," and it's a half-hour long, but it's worth watching. Really, it is. Gives you an idea of what I'm about, what One People's Project is about, what anti-fascism is about. And the only way you can see it right now is if you subscribe to One People's Project or whatever. I mean, I know it's somewhere
and
on
it's I think $5 a month, so it's not a huge amount if you choose to be a paid subscriber.
And we got another one. We're 101. We're up to 101 subscribers right now. We'd like to get more. We got to get more. And and I know we got a whole. We don't have a lot of people watching right now, but they'll see it later. But it's nice to see people that are watching. In fact, on on Facebook and on Substack. So put the word out. Next week we're going to be talking about some other things that we're doing. I know everybody's been hearing me talking about May 9th. We will have everything for you next week for sure. Don't worry, but keep the date free, because we're going to have a ball on May 9th. By the way, for those of you who don't know what the May 9th is, that is the birthday of both John Brown and Sophie Scholl. So we decided we were going to have a birthday for them, birthday party.
The real anti-fascist O.G.
Yes, very much so. All right, y'all. Thank you, Beth, for coming out. Next week,
thank you.
We're gonna Christian wants to come on for next week, I believe. I think he'd be able to come on. So let's see. So let's see what the week gives us. Really, y'all. Every week there's always something I gotta do. One thing about this era is not boring.
It's not boring.
So
boring would be fun right now.
Yes, it would be, but the reason why we do what we do is because they don't make it boring. So take care, y'all. Peace. We'll see you next week. 9 o'clock from now on. 9 o'clock is the date, is the time.
8 Central.
Yes. Take care, y'all.
Why do you think that you have the right to silence me?
I always said that I don't want to be heard, I want to be felt. I don't want to make my mark, I want to make my dent.
I didn't realize at the time that I was actually one of the biggest activists and largest organizers of white nationalism and alt-right in the United States.
They are what is considered by most people sort of your button-up white supremacists, your suit and tie Nazis.
Arguably, what they spew, while it's hateful and deplorable, is political speech, and so therefore it's protected under the Constitution.
Cut! Why are you letting the fascists down here? You've got us blocked off, but you're letting the fascists come and harass us? We want them out of here now, damn it, or we're coming over the fucking barrier!
I can't walk in fear, and we don't walk in fear, you know, and I thank God for that.
Honestly, I wanted to make sure that when I left this earth, there would be something left behind that was worth a damn.
4 bands, 9 songs, 1 good cause, and I even do spoken word on the thing.
So head on over to OnePeoplesProject.com and get your copy of this important CD. Bottom line, we all